Hello good people, and welcome back to Level Up Your Openings. Usually, beginners, likely persons 1200 below, will try to memorize openings with this mentality that, hey, I've got more variations in my arsenal, therefore I will gain more ELO. But unfortunately, that's all that is. You're memorizing stuff. Instead, I suggest to look at your opening of choice with and always with the ever so solid chess principles in mind. Today we're going to play against the Alekhine Defense as white, or study it. Let's level up that ELO.
Round 1, fight!
So you might be familiar with the Alekhine Defense if you played against it as white. It starts with e4, knight to f6. The knight's job is to pester the pawn. Usually you push, and the idea is you overextend your pawns so that the opponent can pick apart the center from the side. And after, say, d5, which is the standard variation, then it starts with d6. It challenges your e-pawn immediately, it being the opponent, and it allows black to develop the knight. And here usually you have c4, again, pestering that knight, but you've kind of pushed all your pawns. Bishop to c4, which could get attacked, or knight to f3. And today we'll look at my favorite, at least so far, is knight to f3, and it's solid. It's very good to avoid the tricks that black has in their arsenal. Today we'll look at 3 variations of the knight to f3 variation and see how you can get black to hopefully blunder or just dominate. Oh, before I begin and before I forget, if you do like this content, find it helpful, and or it's boosting your ELO, please leave a like and sub. That'd be truly appreciated. You have my gratitude. Let's get started. So position 1 is e4, knight to f6, the Alekhine, e5, hitting the knight, knight to d5, and d4, just protecting e5 there. d6, hitting the center immediately, and now the knight to f3 variation, which allows development of the knight and also protecting e5 there. Bishop to f5 by the opponent, and c4. Knight to b6, knight to c3, just chess principles. There is this idea that in the middle of the board, when both of you guys are trying to occupy it, you must, not always, but in general, maintain central tension. And because if somebody pushes the pawn, it fixes the structure, and that changes the whole universe of possibilities immediately. So in this variation, we'll play knight to c3, knight to c6, as you can see, returning the idea of development and then hitting the center yet again. And here, bishop to e3, it's like fencing, attack and defense. Bishop to e3, now defending this square. And here, e6. E takes d6. The first to capture is white. Bishop to e2. Just ideas of development. Bishop to e2 activates the bishop, puts it in the second rank. It's an okay bishop. It's decently active, although blocked by the knight. Bishop to e7. Castle king, and now white strikes with d5. d5 is a very solid move. It does lock the middle, and it does threaten the knight on c6. E takes d, knight takes d, or you can take here as well. But the thing you'll notice is that this pawn is now isolated, meaning there's no pawn beside it that can protect it in case it needs to be defended. Knight takes, c takes. And this is actually a partial trap. With the capture on d5, black is asked the question, where do you want to put that knight? Do you want to retreat, taking away your development? Maybe go to b4 or knight to e5. And frankly, knight to e5 looks good, but it's a very trappy setup, because knight to d4 is a good move. It's not brilliant. Because of that centralization of the knight, white is asked, or black is asked the question, where do you want to put this bishop? Can't go here because I simply take. Do you retreat back? you go to e4? And this looks silly, of course. Game here, black played the almost logical, from a visual standpoint, bishop to g6, just retreating the bishop, but it actually is a game ender in terms of losing a piece. And I hope you guys can find the winning move. Give it a pause, and maybe let me know in the comments, or whatever it is you're doing, let me know. In 3, 2, 1. White wins with simply f4. And it's a matter of space. Look at where the bishop is eyeing. You can't put the knight here. You retreat the knight back here, not here. And now after that, you simply push f5. And yeah, the bishop is gone. You go here, it gets taken, and you're simply up a piece. So like a quick recap there, it looks so innocuous, but see, if you just play solid principles, push, push, takes, takes, castle, castle, central tension, central tension. Now push with d5, takes, takes, takes. And it's almost recommended to go here or go back and reroute. Just because after knight to e5 and attacking, this is off limits. So hopefully you guys can put that in your arsenal. Alright guys, position 2 also starts with e4, knight to f6, definitely. e5, knight to d5, d4, defending and strengthening the middle. This time d6 again, the knight to f3 variation, g6 fianchetto by the opponent, hoping for a bishop to g7. Now bishop to c4, as you can see, clearing, also tempo gaining and aiming at that nice f7 square. Knight to b6, the attack defense, the fencing action. Here, bishop to b3 is the strongest. You keep that square in check. Bishop to g7, and a little bit of tricks. Knight to g5. And it asks black question, what do you want to do with that? And it becomes really tricky if you castle into that. Sorry, if you castle into that. Because now I have e6. And takes, 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 you win the exchange. So after f6, you can pester the opponent, knight to f7, queen to e8. You could be as solid as you'd like, and now just keep taking the center and be a complete nuisance. Look how cramped black is. You've got this dagger of a knight on f7. But in this position after knight to g5, that's not what happened. Instead, d5, changing the nature of the position, closing the position. Bishop now has limited range. This bishop has limited range. And after that move, f4, just pawn thrusting the center. f6 by the opponent, knight to f3. And after that, bishop to g4, just developing but also returning the favor. You were pestering me with the pins and targets. I'll give it to you back. Knight b to d2, knight to c6, attacking the center, developing that. And now we got c3. And black continues, instead of castling, with bishop to h6, trying to soften up the position, but it's not that easy. h3 is the right defense. A lot of holes, it looks like, for white. That's okay. After that move, knight to f1, defending. And black plays queen to d7 with the intention of castle long, which is a complete and outright blunder in this position. And solid, as you can see. But what is the killer move? I'll let you guys think about it in 3, 2, 1. The winning move and brilliant move is f5, guys. You're thinking, wow, you can just capture. Well, this is hanging. And if you capture here, you capture and hit the queen with tempo. And it's so typical in these positions to miss these kind of things. So after queen takes, you take with the queen. You're up a whole clean piece. You have to defend, of course, your king's in the middle. Takes, and all is well. You're up a just one clean piece. Hopefully you can put that into the arsenal. Let's look at that again. Push, d4, knight to f3, aiming at that. And sometimes there are variations where you push here, but here you want to be adventurous. They close the position, f4. You go back, they try to get back at you. Solid center, attacks this, push, and now, because it seems like a logical move. It seems so logical to just put your queen there, strengthen this diagonal, but unfortunately, because you're attacking this pawn, and you could be attacked back, skadoosh, and you lose a whole piece. Anyways, so the third variation of this variation of the Alekhine defense is e4, f6, knight to f6, e5, knight to d5, d4, d6, knight to f3 yet again, knight to b6 immediately. And now the idea is, well, because of the knight to b6, now you develop the queen's bishop with bishop to f4, joining the fray in the middle, g6, bishop to d3, bishop to g7, and then c3, just strengthening the middle. Castle king and queen to e2. As you can see, you're just keeping the center strong. Bishop to g4, knight b to d2, developing another piece. And here's knight to c6. Again, defensing, attack and defense in the middle. Maximum tension, as you can see. Here, h3. And here, black is asked a question, what do you want to do? I'm threatening you. You want to capture. You have an active piece. If the knight gets to f3, white looks more favorable in this position because he has a lot of space. Not the final frontier, but you could go bishop to e6. But in the game, after takes, again, this is asked a question because white does have a lot of activity and has a lot of territory. Do you want to retreat to e6? And frankly, that is the strongest and safest move because in the game, and in the variation, bishop to e5 was done. And here comes a fork in the road that could change the nature of the game and favor white completely. And I won't turn it into a puzzle, but the correct move is actually h takes on g4. It goes without saying, and you can see that even though we ruined their structure, the whole point is to open this. After takes, now we play g3. After takes, we actually go back. I want you to see that because of the capture here, the king is very weak on the dark squares. In this move, the intent is to get to this side of the board. And after f6, you have this move, queen to h6, an almighty checkmate. And queen's too far. If you capture, you get checkmated, so rook 2. And here is a bit of a tactical puzzle. I'll let you guys decide. The answer comes in 3, 2, 1. White overwhelms the kingside structure with bishop takes on g6, sacrificing the bishop. After takes, you get absolutely checkmated. After this move, you can simply capture, and with the pin, a lot of juicy options for you. As white, you can dominate here, maybe castle, but this is definitely winning. All right, guys, I hope you got something out of that. And chess principles first and foremost. Memorize less, especially if you don't understand the pattern, why you're doing it. Knight to f3 for this variation, I do recommend. Hope you guys can gain some ELO on your journey to get to 2000, 2200, or Grandmaster. I'll see you guys later. Double peace.